France is not just a country, it is a world of its own. With 18 regions, France encompasses everything from alpine summits and sun-drenched beaches to Gothic cathedrals and lavender fields. It is a land where every corner tells a different story, shaped by centuries of art, revolution, cuisine, and craftsmanship. To many, France is a dream. The quiet rustle of autumn leaves on the grounds of a Loire château, the first buttery crunch of a croissant on a Parisian morning, or the scent of thyme and rosemary wafting through the Provençal countryside. Each region has its own tempo, its own flavor, and its own voice. But France is more than just visual beauty. It's a place of emotion. It's the feeling of standing beneath the Eiffel Tower as it glitters in the twilight. It's the goosebumps you get when a cathedral bell tolls through a medieval town square. It's the joy of an unplanned picnic beside a vineyard road where local cheese, crusty bread, and wine become an unforgettable meal. In this video, we will not only explore the surface of France, but delve into the deeper stories that give each place its soul. We'll begin with surprising facts that even seasoned travelers may not know, then visit the country's most iconic destinations, and finally, lose ourselves in the peaceful rhythms of its most charming and authentic villages. Whether you're planning your first trip or simply longing to return, this journey through France will offer new insights, fresh inspiration, and hopefully, a renewed appreciation for the enduring magic of this remarkable country. Fascinating facts about France. Did you know that France is the most visited country in the world? Each year, over 90 million travelers flock to its shores, mountains, and cities. But there's far more to France than its most famous landmarks. Let's dive into some captivating curiosities that make France both iconic and surprising. 1. The baguette, a national obsession. The humble baguette is more than bread. It is a French institution. Approximately 10 billion baguettes are baked and consumed annually in France. There's even a law dating back to 1993, the Décret Pain, that dictates exactly what can be called a traditional baguette. It must be made on-site, only from flour, water, salt, and yeast, and without preservatives. Bakers even compete nationally for the prestigious title of Best Baguette in Paris, with the winner supplying bread to the French president for an entire year. 2. The Louvre, the world's art capital. The Louvre Museum in Paris isn't just home to the Mona Lisa. It houses over 35,000 works of art across 72,000 square meters of gallery space. Originally built as a fortress in the late 12th century, it later became a royal palace and, eventually, the most visited museum in the world. From Egyptian sarcophagi to classical Greek sculpture and masterpieces of the Renaissance, the Louvre is a vast treasury of human creativity. 3. The Tour de France, athleticism and scenery combined. First held in 1903, the Tour de France is more than a cycling race. It's a moving tribute to the country's geography. Covering over 3,000 kilometers each summer, the race showcases snow-capped mountains, medieval villages, rolling vineyards, and stunning coastlines, all while pushing athletes to the limits of human endurance. The iconic yellow jersey, maillot jaune, is recognized around the world as a symbol of sporting excellence. 4th, castles, ruins, and royal legacies. France is dotted with over 40,000 castles and château ruins, from fairy tale turrets in the Loire Valley to ancient fortresses in the Pyrenees. Some, like Château de Chambord, are architectural masterpieces commissioned by kings. Others, like Carcassonne, are walled cities frozen in time. Whether intact or in ruins, they remind us of France's long and often turbulent history of monarchs, invasions, and revolutions. 5. Wine, France's liquid heritage. Few countries are as synonymous with wine as France. With over 750,000 hectares of vineyards and 17 major wine regions, including Burgundy, Bordeaux, Champagne, and the Rhone Valley, France is both a historical pioneer and a modern innovator in winemaking. Each glass tells a story of soil, climate, tradition, and technique. Terroir, a term coined by the French, describes the unique sense of place that infuses their wines with character and identity. 6. A gift to the world, the Statue of Liberty. One of the most iconic American symbols, the Statue of Liberty, was in fact a gift from France in 1886 to celebrate Franco-American friendship and shared democratic ideals. Designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi and built by Gustave Eiffel, it stands today in New York Harbor, a silent but powerful connection between two nations. 7. The TGV, speed and style on rails. The TGV, train à grande vitesse, revolutionized European travel when it debuted in the 1980s. Today, these high-speed trains glide across the country at speeds up to 320 kilometers per hour, 199 miles per hour, connecting Paris to Marseille in just over 3 hours. The TGV isn't just fast, it's comfortable, quiet, and environmentally friendly, making it a symbol of French engineering and foresight. 8. Gastronomy, more than food, its identity. In 2010, UNESCO officially recognized the French gastronomic meal as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. That's how seriously France takes food. It's not just about ingredients, it's about rituals, the gathering of friends and family, the pacing of courses, the attention to detail, the joy of conversation. From escargot to coq au vin, ratatouille to tarte tatin, every dish has a story, a region, and a reason. 9. The Michelin Guide, Culinary Olympus. The Michelin Guide began in 1900 as a way to encourage people to drive more, thus buying more tires. Today, it's the global authority on fine dining, with its famous stars signifying excellence, mastery, and innovation. France leads the world in Michelin-starred restaurants, and chefs here are not just cooks, they're artists, scientists, and celebrities. 10. The language of diplomacy. French has long been considered the language of diplomacy. From the 17th century through the 20th, French was the language used in international treaties, royal courts, and diplomatic correspondence. Today, French remains one of the official languages of the United Nations, the International Olympic Committee, and the European Union. It's a language associated with elegance, formality, and precision. From food to art, history to engineering, France continues to set global standards in culture and lifestyle. These facts are not just trivia, they're testaments to the country's influence and imagination. Iconic places in France. Excellent. Let's now continue with the expanded iconic places in France. Part 1. Corsica, Verdon Gorges, and Chamonix-Mont Blanc. This section enhances the storytelling, brings each location vividly to life, and adds immersive sensory details to deepen viewer engagement. 1. Corsica, the island of beauty and rebellion. Imagine a place where turquoise sea meets rugged mountain, where wild pigs roam the hillsides, and where every village has its own dialect, dish, and myth. Welcome to Corsica, the Île de Beauté, Island of Beauty, a title it wears with effortless pride. Located in the Mediterranean, this French island feels like a world apart. Though politically part of France, its culture has been heavily influenced by centuries of Genoese rule and its proximity to Italy. Corsica is fiercely independent, proud of its customs, music, and language, Corsu, which is still spoken in many communities. In Ajaccio, the island's capital, palm-lined boulevards and stately buildings whisper of imperial grandeur. This was the birthplace of Napoleon Bonaparte, and you can visit his family home, now a museum filled with relics and personal items. History seems to echo through the streets, blending seamlessly with modern cafes and markets. But Corsica's soul lives in its landscapes. Towering mountains divide the island, cutting off coastal cities from hilltop hamlets that cling stubbornly to granite cliffs. The GR20, one of Europe's most challenging and rewarding hiking trails, crosses the island from north to south, guiding trekkers through alpine meadows, pine forests, and craggy peaks, with views that stretch endlessly to the sea. And then there are the beaches, more than 200 of them, from the white sands of Palombagia to the pink cliffs of Rocapina, each one feels like a private paradise. Often uncrowded even in high season, these beaches invite you to swim, snorkel, and let time slow down. Corsican cuisine is as bold as its people. Local charcuterie like figatello, brochu cheese, and chestnut-based sweets speak to a deep connection with the land. Wines from indigenous grapes and wild herbs like maquis, Corsica's signature shrubland scent, flavor everything from lamb to liqueurs. To visit Corsica is to encounter a France that is ancient, untamed, and unfiltered. It's not just a destination, it's an awakening. 2. Verdon Gorges, Europe's Grand Canyon of turquoise light. Tucked into the heart of Provence, the Gorges du Verdon is one of Europe's best-kept natural secrets. Carved over millennia by the Verdon River, this dramatic limestone canyon plunges to depths of over 700 meters, offering views so surreal you'll feel like you're looking at a painting. The star of the show is the Verdon River itself, which flows in brilliant shades of aquamarine and emerald, thanks to glacial minerals and reflective rock. The waters are so clear and otherworldly that they've earned the nickname the Turquoise Ribbon of France. Visitors come from around the globe for adventure. You can kayak through the narrowest parts of the gorge, where cliffs rise vertically on either side, casting dramatic shadows over the glowing river. If you're daring, rock climbing routes on the canyon walls await, some of the best in the world. For hikers, trails like the Sentier Blanc Martel lead deep into the gorge, past natural tunnels, waterfalls, and sheer drop-offs that offer sweeping panoramas. For a more relaxed visit, scenic drives like the Route des Crêtes Snake along the canyon rim with lookout points that defy belief. The surrounding countryside adds another layer of charm. Just minutes away lies the village of Moustier-Sainte-Marie, nestled against towering cliffs and famous for its delicate faience pottery. The village is crowned by a gold star suspended high above, said to have been hung by a knight in gratitude for surviving the Crusades. In summer, lavender fields bloom across the Plateau de Valençol nearby, blending violet hues with the canyon's green and blue, a palette that seems almost too beautiful to be real. And of course, this is Provence, so flavor is never far behind. Enjoy a glass of rosé after a day on the water, taste honey infused with lavender, or try trout freshly caught from the river. The Verdon Gorges isn't just an outdoor escape. It's a living canvas of wind, water, and light. 3. Chamonix Mont Blanc, where heaven touches earth. At the junction of France, Italy, and Switzerland, nestled beneath the towering majesty of Mont Blanc, lies the legendary alpine town of Chamonix, a destination that inspires awe in every season. Mont Blanc, at 4,807 meters, is the highest peak in Western Europe, and its snow-covered crown has captivated adventurers and dreamers for centuries. Chamonix, at its foot, was the site of the first Winter Olympic Games in 1924, and today remains a world-renowned hub for mountaineering, skiing, hiking, and mountain culture. In winter, Chamonix is alive with energy. Skis clatter in the streets, and fireplaces crackle in cozy chalets. The Vallée Blanche, a 20-kilometer off-piste descent from the Aiguille du Midi back into town, is a rite of passage for expert skiers. But there's something for everyone, from gentle slopes for beginners to thrilling vertical descents. In summer, the landscape transforms into an emerald playground. Cable cars whisk visitors to the peaks, where views stretch across glaciers, jagged ridges, and alpine meadows. The Aiguille du Midi, accessible via one of the world's highest cable cars, offers a 360-degree view of the Alps, so close to Mont Blanc's summit, it feels like you could reach out and touch it. For the truly brave, Step into the Void is a glass box suspended over a 1,000-meter drop. Standing inside, surrounded by sky and stone, is as close as most will ever come to flying. Back in town, Chamonix balances tradition and innovation. Its alpine architecture, wood and stone lodges, and charming squares coexist with Michelin-starred restaurants and cutting-edge outdoor gear shops. The town also celebrates its mountaineering heritage with museums, climbing schools, and monuments honoring legendary alpinists. Don't miss the Mer de Glace, France's largest glacier. You can reach it by taking the charming Montagne-Vert Railway, a rack and pinion train that winds through forests and tunnels before opening to a view of ice and sky. Inside the glacier itself, a series of ice caves and sculptures transport you to a world beneath the world. Chamonix is more than a ski town or a hiking base. It is a gateway to the sublime, a place where human ambition meets nature's raw power. Whether you're sipping coffee under snow-covered peaks or hiking under a summer sun, you'll feel something here, a sense of wonder that stays with you long after the mountains disappear from view. Great! Let's continue with the expanded version of iconic places in France. Part 2. Provence, Dunes du Pilat, and Aquitaine, and Alsace. This section brings out the sensory richness, cultural depth, and scenic splendor of southern and eastern France. 4. Provence, a living canvas of light, lavender, and legend. If France were a painting, Provence would be its richest palette. Swaths of lavender and sunflower yellow, splashes of terracotta, olive green, and Mediterranean blue. Located in the southeastern corner of France, Provence is where nature, flavor, and history come together to create an atmosphere that feels both timeless and enchanted. In summer, the lavender fields of Valensole stretch to the horizon, buzzing with bees and glowing in the sunlight. These fragrant carpets of violet are not just scenic, they're deeply tied to regional identity and economy, used in everything from perfumes and oils to pastries and liqueurs. The villages of Provence are their own little worlds. Gourd, built into a cliffside, stuns with its dry stone buildings and panoramic views of the Luberon Valley. Saint-Rémy de Provence inspired Van Gogh's most emotional paintings, and walking its leafy lanes feels like stepping into a dreamscape touched by genius. Markets burst with color and scent, mounds of olives, bundles of herbes de Provence, rounds of pungent cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, and handmade soaps fill the stalls. Locals chat over espresso as the smell of roasting chicken or paella drifts through cobblestone alleys. Time in Provence seems to stretch and soften, measured not by the clock, but by the rhythm of meals, market days, and the setting sun. And then there's the food. Bouillabaisse, the iconic seafood stew, is a symphony of flavors pulled straight from the Mediterranean. Dishes are prepared with olive oil, garlic, tomatoes, and wine, a cuisine of sun and soil. Provence is also rich in history. Roman ruins lie scattered across the landscape, from the amphitheater in Arles to the Pont du Gard, an aqueduct that has stood for over 2,000 years. These monuments tell a story of empire, conquest, and civilization, all set beneath skies so clear and luminous they inspired generations of painters. Whether you're sipping a chilled rosé under a cypress tree, exploring ancient abbeys, or cycling through fragrant hills, Provence isn't just a region, it's a feeling. 5. Dunes du Pilat and Aquitaine, sand, sea, and serene horizons. Imagine standing on the crest of a golden dune, the ocean stretching to the west, and forests rolling endlessly to the east. Welcome to the Dunes du Pilat, Europe's tallest sand dune and one of France's most surreal landscapes. Located on the Atlantic coast in Nouvelle-Aquitaine, just an hour from Bordeaux, the Dunes du Pilat rises over 110 meters and is constantly reshaped by the wind. Climbing it is a workout. Reaching the summit is a reward. The panoramic view is unlike anything else in France. To one side, the deep blue of the Bassin d'Arcachon glimmers. To the other, the dense Landes forest stretches like a living sea. But this isn't just a beautiful spot. It's a place of powerful contrast. Watch as the sunset dyes the sands in copper and rose, or visit in the early morning when mist rises off the water and the world is hushed except for the soft hiss of wind across the dune. Beyond the dune lies Aquitaine, a region that combines surf culture, culinary excellence, and storied history. Biarritz, once a favorite of Napoleon III, has become a European surf capital where sleek boards meet elegant seaside villas. Its beaches are framed by dramatic rock formations and offer some of the best breaks on the Atlantic coast. Inland, the town of Saint-Émilion is a UNESCO treasure, a medieval village cradled by vineyards and known for producing some of the most prestigious wines in the world. Beneath the town lies a network of ancient cellars and even a monolithic church carved directly into the rock. It's a place where every cobbled street seems to lead to a tasting room or a store. Aquitaine is also a paradise for nature lovers and food enthusiasts. The region is home to Arcachon Bay's oyster farms, duck confit, Basque cuisine, and some of the freshest seafood in France. Whether you're climbing dunes, surfing Atlantic waves, sipping wine among vines, or strolling through sleepy villages, this region captures the relaxed, untamed elegance of coastal France. 6. Alsace, a fairy tale borderland of wine and timbered wonder. Tucked along the German border in northeastern France, Alsace is a region where fairy tales seem to come alive. With its colorful half-timbered houses, flower-draped balconies, and steep-roofed villages, Alsace looks like something from a storybook, but its charm is very real. The region's unique character comes from its dual heritage. For centuries, Alsace has shifted between French and German control, and that blending is felt in its language, cuisine, and architecture. Town names sound German: Rickevier, Eguisheim, Obernai, but the warmth is unmistakably French. The capital, Strasbourg, is the perfect starting point. Its Grande Ile, Grand Island, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, home to the magnificent Strasbourg Cathedral, a Gothic masterpiece whose spire once made it the tallest building in the world. Inside, you'll find a breathtaking astronomical clock and stained glass windows that bathe the stone interior in rainbow light. Wander through the Petite France district and you'll be enchanted by its old-world charm. Canals winding past 16th century houses, mill wheels turning lazily, and the smell of fresh bread wafting from tiny bakeries. But it's in the villages and countryside where Alsace truly shines. The Route des Vins, Wine Road, winds through 170 kilometers of vineyard-draped hills, leading to some of the most picturesque villages in France. Colmar, often dubbed the Little Venice of Alsace, is famous for its canals, pastel-colored houses, and vibrant flower displays. Alsatian wine is renowned for its crisp whites, Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, which pair beautifully with the local cuisine. Speaking of which, get ready for rich, hearty fare: choucroute garni, sauerkraut with sausages and pork; flammekuech, a thin, crispy tart topped with cheese, onions, and bacon; and warm pretzels fresh from the oven. Come winter, the region transforms again. Alsace is home to some of Europe's most famous Christmas markets, especially in Strasbourg and Colmar. Lights twinkle, mulled wine flows, and wooden stalls overflow with handmade ornaments, gingerbread, and holiday cheer. In Alsace, every season offers magic. It's a place where history lives in every beam and brick, and where the past feels like it's still unfolding, just with better wine. 7. Normandy, echoes of war, wonders of nature. Normandy is a land of stories, some told in soft winds over green meadows, others carved into the cliffs by the Atlantic Ocean, and many written in blood on the beaches of D-Day. It's a place of deep memory and timeless beauty. Walk along the sands of Omaha Beach and you'll feel it. A hush in the waves, a weight in the wind. This stretch of coastline saw one of the most pivotal moments of World War II, when Allied forces landed on June 6, 1944. Today, cemeteries and memorials pay solemn tribute to those who sacrificed their lives for liberation. The American cemetery at Colleville-sur-Mer, with its endless rows of white crosses, is haunting in its quiet dignity. But Normandy is more than a battlefield. It's a landscape of natural drama and pastoral charm. The cliffs of Etretat, etched by time and sea, stand like natural cathedrals rising from the surf. They inspired Claude Monet, whose brush captured their shifting light, and they continue to awe travelers with their beauty. Inland, the region is a patchwork of orchards, rolling pastures, and half-timbered farmhouses. Normandy is the birthplace of camembert cheese, apple cider, and the sweet, potent Calvados brandy. Stop in a small village, and you're likely to find a cozy creperie serving up galettes stuffed with cheese and ham, with a cup of sparkling cider on the side. Rouen, the regional capital, is a medieval city with Gothic spires and cobbled lanes. It's where Joan of Arc met her fate in 1431, and the city honors her with a mix of reverence and modernity. The Notre Dame Cathedral of Rouen, also immortalized in Monet's paintings, soars with grace and intricacy, while the half-timbered houses seem to lean into one another, whispering secrets from centuries past. Normandy is a region that knows how to honor history while embracing the present, a place where the past is not just remembered, but deeply felt. 8. Brittany, France's Celtic soul. Push west until the land breaks into jagged cliffs and crashing seas, and you'll find Brittany, a realm of legends, lighthouses, and proud identity. Unlike anywhere else in France, Brittany feels ancient and otherworldly, a place where Celtic traditions still pulse beneath the surface. Here, the Breton language is still spoken in pockets, and traditional music, filled with fiddles and bagpipes, rings out during local festivals. The region's roots go deep, older than the Romans, older even than recorded history. Carnac, a coastal town, boasts over 3,000 prehistoric standing stones, arranged in mysterious rows that have puzzled archaeologists for generations. Theories range from astronomical observatories to ritual sites. No one knows for sure, and that's part of the magic. The coastline is one of France's most dramatic. In places like the Pointe du Raz, cliffs plunge into a frothing sea, whipped by Atlantic winds. Lighthouses stand tall on rocky islets, guiding ships through treacherous waters, and hiking trails like the Sentier des Douaniers, customs officers' path, trace every twist and turn of the coast. But Brittany also whispers in softer tones. In fishing villages like Camaret-sur-Mer and Locronan, slate-roofed cottages and cobblestone squares feel frozen in time. Shops sell sea-salted caramel, and cafes serve galettes de sarrasin, buckwheat crepes, topped with anything from smoked salmon to goat cheese and honey. And then there's Saint-Malo, the walled port city that once housed corsairs, state-sanctioned pirates who plundered in the name of France. Today, its stone ramparts offer views of emerald waves and tidal islands, and its narrow streets invite you to lose yourself in tales of explorers, storms, and treasure. Brittany is as wild as it is warm. It's a place where legends feel real, where the land seems to breathe, and where every gust of wind feels like it's carrying a story from long ago. 9. Strasbourg, between borders and beyond time. Perched along the Rhine on the border with Germany, Strasbourg is a city of bridges, literal, cultural, and historical. As the capital of Alsace, it has been shaped by both French and German influences over centuries of shifting borders and shared heritage. Its heart is La Petite France, a picturesque district of canals, flower boxes, and half-timbered houses that lean into the waterways like something out of a fairy tale. These homes, once occupied by tanners and fishermen, are now lively cafes, artisan shops, and charming inns that preserve the soul of a bygone era. At the center of the city rises the Strasbourg Cathedral, one of the most extraordinary Gothic structures in Europe. Its delicate spire, intricately carved facade, and glowing stained glass windows make it a marvel by day. But it's at night, when lit against the sky, that it truly feels ethereal. Inside the cathedral is the astronomical clock, a 16th century masterpiece that still keeps time with celestial precision. At 12:30 each day, a parade of wooden figures marks the hour, drawing crowds who marvel at both the mechanical genius and symbolic power of this clockwork ballet. Strasbourg is also one of Europe's most important political centers, home to the European Parliament, the Council of Europe, and the European Court of Human Rights. This gives the city a distinctly international vibe, yet it never loses its local charm. In December, Strasbourg transforms into the capital of Christmas. Its Christmas market, one of the oldest and largest in Europe, takes over the city center with hundreds of stalls selling ornaments, candles, gingerbread, and vin chaud, mulled wine. The scent of cinnamon and fir trees lingers in the air as choirs sing in historic squares and lights twinkle overhead. And, of course, there's the food. Strasbourg is heaven for fans of Alsatian cuisine. Bec-off, tarte flambée, spiced breads, and hearty stews, all best enjoyed with a crisp, local white wine. Strasbourg is a city of dualities and unity, old and new, local and global, French and it is precisely in these contrasts that its beauty is found. It is a place where culture crosses borders and becomes something greater than the sum of its parts. 10. Mont Saint-Michel, the floating abbey of the north. Few places on earth seem to defy reality quite like Mont Saint-Michel. Rising out of the tidal flats of Normandy, this medieval island commune has stood for over 1,000 years as both a beacon of faith and a feat of engineering. From a distance, it appears almost mythical, a dramatic spire-crowned abbey perched on a rocky islet, surrounded by shimmering sands at low tide and transformed into an island by the high tide. It's no wonder Mont Saint-Michel has long been a symbol of the sublime, a place where the boundaries between land, sea, and sky blur into magic. The abbey at its heart was founded in the 8th century after the Archangel Michael reportedly appeared to the Bishop of Avranches. Over the centuries, it grew into a vast complex of chapels, crypts, gardens, and Gothic towers, visited by pilgrims and admired by monarchs. Climbing the narrow stone staircases to the top is like ascending through history, each level revealing breathtaking architecture and deeper layers of monastic life. The surrounding village, with its tiny inns, winding alleyways, and ancient walls, offers the feel of a medieval world frozen in time. Small shops sell handmade lace, religious relics, and buttery galettes de Sarrasin, buckwheat crepes. At high tide, the sea floods the surrounding land, cutting off the mont and casting reflections in every direction, creating the illusion that the abbey floats. Mont Saint-Michel is not just a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's a spiritual and architectural marvel. Whether you visit at dawn when the mist hangs low over the mudflats, or at sunset when the island is bathed in golden light, it's an experience that etches itself into memory. 11th, Lyon, the beating heart of French gastronomy and history. Located at the confluence of the Rhône and Saône rivers, Lyon is a city that pulses with energy, culture, and often called the gastronomic capital of France. It's a place where tradition and innovation sit at the same table, and the meal is always unforgettable. The city's history is long and layered. Founded by the Romans in 43 BC, ancient Lugdunum was once the capital of Gaul. You can still visit the Roman amphitheater on Fourvière, which now hosts concerts and festivals, connecting the ancient past with vibrant modern life. But it's the Vieux Lyon, the Renaissance-era Old Town, that captures hearts. Its narrow, cobbled streets are lined with pastel-hued houses and secret traboules, covered passageways once used by silk merchants and later the French resistance. Walking through these hidden paths, you step into the rhythms of a city that has always thrived on creativity and resilience. The majestic Basilica of Notre-Dame de Fourvière, perched atop the hill, offers panoramic views of the city's red rooftops and cathedral spires. Inside, its gilded mosaics and vaulted ceilings rival the finest churches in. But let's talk about food, because in Lyon, eating is an art. This is the home of the bouchon, a type of cozy, family-run restaurant where hearty Lyonnaise dishes are served without pretension. Try quenelle de brochet, pike dumplings in creamy andouillette, a rustic, or salade lyonnaise topped with a poached egg and crispy bacon. Then finish with tarte à la praline, a bright pink pastry as sweet as it is iconic. Lyon is also where the Institut Paul Bocuse trains some of the world's greatest chefs, continuing the city's legacy as a cradle of culinary excellence. Meanwhile, the Confluence District, with its futuristic buildings and riverfront walkways, showcases Lyon's ability to embrace the future without forgetting its roots. To visit Lyon is to taste, walk, and breathe centuries of living culture, delivered with charm and generosity. 12. The Loire Valley, a kingdom of castles and gardens. If ever there was a land fit for fairy tales, it is the Loire Valley. Known as the Garden of France, this UNESCO World Heritage Site stretches along the Loire River and is dotted with over 300 châteaux, each more dazzling than the. The castles of the Loire are not just homes, they're architectural dreams born of royalty, rivalry, and romance. Take Château de Chambord, a Renaissance masterpiece commissioned by King Francis I, who invited none other than Leonardo da Vinci to help with its design. With its double helix staircase and 440 rooms, Chambord is as grand as any palace in Europe. Then there's Château de Chenonceau, the so-called Ladies' Castle, built over the Cher. With its elegant arches and flower-filled gardens, it has long been associated with powerful women in French history, including Diane de Poitiers and Catherine de Medici. Walk its long gallery over the water, and you'll feel transported to a different scene. But the Loire is more than its chateau. The river itself flows gently through vineyards, forests, and sleepy towns like Ama, where Leonardo da Vinci spent his final years at Clos Lucé, now a museum dedicated to his life and invention. His tomb lies in the nearby chapel, a quiet tribute to one of the world's greatest minds. Tours, another jewel of the valley, offers a vibrant blend of medieval charm and modern life, with lively squares, art museums, and a gastronomy scene that includes buttery roulettes and the freshest goat cheese. And of course, there is the wine. The Loire Valley produces some of France's most refined wines, Sancerre, Vouvray, Chinon, and Pouilly-Fumé, each capturing the essence of their terroir. Visiting a vineyard here is not just about tasting, it's about understanding. From cycling along the riverbank to drifting in a hot air balloon above castle turrets, the Loire Valley invites you to slow down and savor. Every bend in the river reveals another postcard-perfect scene, and another reminder that France, at its core, is a country built on beauty, grace, and the passage of time. 13. The French Riviera, sunlight, style, and the Mediterranean. Welcome to the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera, where mountains meet the Mediterranean in a wash of color, luxury, and unforgettable. Long the playground of artists, aristocrats, and the international elite, this glamorous coastal stretch has become a symbol of refined pleasure and timeless charm. Begin in Nice, where the Promenade des Anglais curves like a ribbon along the bright blue Baie des Anges. Whether you're biking along the palm-lined promenade, strolling through the old town, Vieux Nice, or admiring the works of Chagall and Matisse in their respective museums, Nice invites you to savor life at a leisurely pace. Its markets bloom with lavender, fresh produce, and sake, a crispy chickpea pancake best enjoyed with a glass of chilled rosé. Further west lies Cannes, world-renowned for its annual film festival, where stars descend in tuxedos and gowns for red carpet premieres. But beyond the flashbulbs and designer labels, Cannes offers golden beaches, high-end boutiques, and a surprisingly tranquil old quarter called Le Souquet, where narrow streets wind up to a panoramic viewpoint over the harbor. Then comes Saint-Tropez, once a sleepy fishing village, now a hub of discreet luxury and artistic flair. Yachts bob gently in the port, and pastel-colored buildings frame bustling cafes and art galleries. The town's reputation was transformed in the 1950s by Brigitte Bardot, who made it the epicenter of effortless French glamour. The Riviera isn't just about the jet set. The hilltop villages inland from the coast, like Aix, Grasse, and Mougins, offer stone paths, perfumeries, and mountain views, all bathed in Mediterranean sunlight. The scent of rosemary and pine mixes with sea air, and time slows down in the shaded courtyards and sleepy squares. And don't forget Monaco, a sovereign city-state known for its Formula One Grand Prix, world-class casino, and cliffside path. But behind the opulence lies a long legacy of maritime tradition, royal history, and environmental innovation. The French Riviera is more than a destination. It is a mood, sun-kissed, artistic, and effortlessly. Whether you're swimming in crystalline waters or watching the stars from a beachside bistro, the Riviera offers a taste of French life at its most. 14. Bordeaux, the epicenter of wine, culture, and urban. In Bordeaux, elegance and earthiness meet. This southwestern port city, long known for its wine, has evolved into one of France's most dynamic cultural capitals, a place where 18th century grandeur meets 21st century vitality. The historic city center, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is filled with neoclassical architecture, wide boulevards, and lively public spaces. The Place de la Bourse, with its mirror-like reflecting pool, Le Miroir d'Eau, creates an illusion of floating buildings, blending history and modern design in breathtaking harmony. Stroll down the Rue Sainte-Catherine, one of Europe's longest pedestrian shopping streets, or explore the buzzing neighborhood of Darwin, a former military barracks turned into a creative hub of cafes, eco-startups, and skate parks. Bordeaux is not just preserving its past, it's reinventing its future. At the city's heart is its wine, the Cité du Vin, a futuristic museum shaped like a swirling glass of wine, offers a sensory journey through global winemaking. But Bordeaux's vineyards are only a short drive away. With over 60 appellations and thousands of producers, Bordeaux is home to legendary names: Margaux, Pomerol, Saint-Emilion, and Graves. A visit to the village of Saint-Emilion, just 40 minutes from the city, is a must. With its monolithic church carved into limestone, medieval streets, and endless vineyards, it's a step into a storybook of wine and wonder. Tastings are intimate and educational, often led by winemakers themselves, eager to share the philosophy behind their terroir. Bordeaux also boasts a vibrant food scene. Try fresh oysters from Arcachon Bay, duck confit, and cannelé, small pastries with caramelized crusts and soft custardy centers. Pair it all with a bold red, and you've just experienced Bordeaux at its. This is a city of movement and transformation where culture flows as richly as the wine. In Bordeaux, life is about balance between tradition and innovation, quiet vineyards and bustling markets, refined elegance and genuine warmth. 15. Paris, the city of light, romance, and infinite. And finally, we arrive in Paris. Few cities carry as much myth, meaning, and magnetism as the French capital. It is at once a place and a feeling, a city that lives not only in reality, but in the hearts of those who dream. The skyline is instantly recognizable. The Eiffel Tower, rising in delicate ironwork above the Seine. The Notre Dame Cathedral, rising from its island home like a stone ship of. The Sacré-Cœur, perched atop Montmartre, gazing over a sea of rooftops. But Paris is more than monuments. It is the atmosphere. The clink of glasses on a cafe terrace, the echo of footsteps in a cobblestone alley, the scent of baguettes and butter in the early morning. Begin along the Seine, where bouquinistes sell vintage books from green stalls, and bridges link the left and right banks in a dance of history and charm. Past the Louvre, where the Mona Lisa hides her smile among thousands of treasures, and cross into the Tuileries Gardens, where fountains and sculptures whisper stories to passing visitors. Explore Le Marais, a district of medieval mansions and Jewish heritage, now filled with galleries, boutiques, and bakeries. Or lose yourself in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, home to literary legends, jazz cafes, and an old-world elegance that never fades. And when night falls, watch the Eiffel Tower sparkle from the Pont Alexandre III, or climb to Montmartre's Place du Tertre, where painters still sketch portraits as accordion music drifts. Paris is also a culinary cathedral. From the simplest croissant to the most exquisite tasting menu at a Michelin-starred restaurant, every bite tells a story. This is the home of gastronomy, where cheese is an art form, wine is a way of life, and even the humblest meal feels like a celebration. And yet, perhaps the greatest gift of Paris is its ability to make the everyday extraordinary. A stroll through the Jardin du Luxembourg, a conversation at a corner cafe, a glance into a bookstore window. These become moments of grace and in Paris, beauty is everywhere, not just in the grand, but in the quiet, the accidental, the lived in. It is a city that doesn't just shine, it glows. 16. The Palace of Versailles, splendor beyond measure. Just 20 kilometers from Paris lies the Palace of Versailles, a symbol of absolute monarchy, a monument of opulence, and one of the most visited sites in all of France. What began as a modest hunting lodge under Louis XIII evolved into a royal masterpiece under Louis XIV, the Sun. When you pass through the golden gates of Versailles, you step into a world of excess designed to showcase power and control. The palace contains over 2,300 rooms, including the Hall of Mirrors, a corridor of grandeur where 357 mirrors reflect the gilded chandeliers and marble pillars. It was here, beneath frescoes celebrating Louis XIV's reign, that the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919, formally ending World War I. But Versailles is not just a building, it's a landscape of majesty. The gardens of Versailles, stretching across 800 hectares, are a marvel of geometry and symmetry, filled with classical statues, sculpted hedges, and musical fountains that still dance to compositions by Lully and Rum. Don't miss the Grand Trianon and Petit Trianon, private retreats for royals seeking escape from court life. Most famous is Marie Antoinette's Hamlet, a fairy tale village where the queen indulged her fantasy of rural life, an idyllic contrast to the formality of the main palace. Today, Versailles reminds us not just of royal luxury, but of a changing France, from the heights of aristocratic power to the revolutions that would follow. It is a place where beauty, ambition, and history collide on a monumental scale. 17. Marseille, the grit, glory, and gateway to the Mediterranean. If Paris is the brain of France, Marseille is the pulse, the oldest city in the country, founded by Greek settlers over 2,600 years ago. It's a city of contrast and energy, where the Mediterranean sun warms the stone streets and sea breezes carry a mix of languages and a. At the center is the Vieux Port, Old Port, a bustling harbor where fishermen sell their morning catch next to rows of cafes and markets. The view of Notre Dame de la Garde, the city's iconic hilltop basilica, dominates the skyline, watching over Marseille like a protective guardian. Climb up to this basilica for panoramic views of the coastline and the rocky calanques, narrow inlets with turquoise waters, hidden beaches, and steep limestone. Whether by boat or hiking trail, exploring the Calanques National Park is one of the most exhilarating experiences in southern. Marseille is also a city of rich multicultural identity. From the aromatic North African markets in Noailles to the hip art galleries of Cours Julien, every neighborhood brings a different flavor. Its cuisine is a reflection of its diversity. Try a steaming bowl of bouillabaisse, a fragrant fish stew made from the sea's daily offerings, best paired with crusty bread and garlicky. Culturally, Marseille is on the rise. The Musée museum of European and Mediterranean civilizations, with its lace-like concrete facade, is a stunning modern addition to the city's ancient soul. Nearby, the restored Fort Saint-Jean links the city's past and future. Marseille is not polished, and that's its magic. It's raw, real, and alive. Every street corner hums with history and possibility. It doesn't ask you to fall in love with it. It dares you. Charming villages of France, where time slows and beauty. Beyond the grandeur of cities and palaces, France reveals its soul in its villages. Small, quiet places where beauty is whispered rather than. These are the towns that appear in paintings and postcards, where flowers tumble from balconies, shutters creak open to sunlight, and cobblestone streets invite leisurely exploration, curiosity, and calm. These villages are not merely places on a map. They are the keepers of tradition, the heartbeats of regional identity, and often the best-kept secrets of France. Premiere, Riquewihr, Walled and wonderfully preserved, Riquewihr is a village where every building tells a story. Its half-timbered houses, painted in vibrant hues and dressed in geraniums, create a living fairy tale, especially under a soft snowfall or in the golden glow of. Walking through its medieval streets feels like stepping back in time. The village is also a gateway to the Alsace wine route, with cellars offering tastings of crisp, floral Rieslings and deeply aromatic Gewürz. At Christmas time, Riquewihr becomes a snow globe come to life. Its market stalls glow with candlelight, cinnamon-spiced mulled wine warms your hands, and choirs sing beneath the shadow of the old clock. 2. Gourds. Perched on a hill in the Luberon, Gourds seems carved from. Its golden stone buildings tumble gracefully down the slope, blending seamlessly with the rocky outcrop on which it stands. Artists have long been seduced by the village's beauty, including Marc Chagall, who found refuge and inspiration in the nearby country. Just beyond Gourdes lies the Abbaye de Senonque, surrounded by lavender fields that buzz with bees in July. The aroma of rosemary, thyme, and crushed stone fills the air, and evenings are serenaded by the soft strum of. Whether you're sipping rosé under a fig tree or browsing artisan ceramics in a village gallery, Gourdes is a Provençal dream brought to life. Troisième, Eguisheim, Alsace. Circular in layout and overflowing with charm, Eguisheim is like a rose unfurling from the heart of Alsace. Its concentric streets curl gently around a medieval castle, and every twist of the path brings you to another flower-laced balcony or sun-dappled doorway. The village has earned multiple distinctions as one of France's most beautiful villages, and it's easy to see why. Wisteria drapes from eaves, storks nest atop pointed rooftops, and wine flows freely from local cellars. In summer, the scent of tarte flambée and the clink of glasses fill the air, creating a warm, communal atmosphere that's hard to leave behind. Quatrième Conques. Conques is where the sacred meets the sublime. Nestled in a steep wooded valley, this village has long served as a key stop on the Camino de Santiago pilgrimage. Its abbey church of Sainte-Foy, with its detailed Last Judgment tympanum and jewel-encrusted reliquary, is a spiritual and artistic masterpiece. Yet Conques isn't just about faith, it's about stillness and reflection. Stone houses lean into winding streets, and at dusk, lanterns light the way for visitors returning from contemplative walks along the hills. The silence here is rich and resonant, like the hush inside a chapel. Cinquième Ivoire, Haute-Savoie. Set on the glittering edge of Lake Geneva, Ivoire is a medieval jewel with its stone ramparts and towers are softened by lush gardens and lake breezes, making it one of the most picturesque spots in Haute-Savoie. The Garden of the Five Senses, inspired by monastic herb gardens, offers a rare sensory experience. Paths scented with mint and basil, vines heavy fruit, flowers buzzing with bees. With its lakeside cafes and sailboats rocking gently on the water, Ivoire offers an elegance born from nature and 6. Saint-Cirque-la-Popie. Saint-Cirque-la-Popie doesn't just cling to a cliff, it commands it. Overlooking the sinuous Lot River, this village is a dramatic blend of crooked medieval architecture, flower-filled terraces, and panoramic vistas. Once voted France's most beautiful village, Saint-Cirque was beloved by artists like André Breton, who declared he had ceased to desire elsewhere. The village is a labyrinth of shadow and sunlight, where time seems to slow and every view is a Saturne Talmont-sur-Gironde, Charente-Maritime. Facing the Atlantic on a narrow headland, Talmont-sur-Gironde is a postcard in stone. Founded in the 13th century, it features a Romanesque church perched dramatically at the cliff's edge, facing the surf like a guardian. The streets are scented with sea air and honeysuckle, and in spring and summer, hollyhocks bloom like fishermen still use traditional carolets, wooden huts on stilts with netting systems, to catch shrimp and eel, adding to the village's timeless charm. 8. Rochefort-en-Terre, Brittany. Tucked into the green hills of Brittany, Rochefort-en-Terre is a floral fantasia. Its stone mansions and half-timbered shops overflow with blossoms from spring to fall, thanks to a local competition that has residents decorate their homes with a profusion of artists have long flocked to Rochefort, and today its streets are lined with galleries, sculptors' workshops, and potters' studios. During the holidays, the village turns into a glowing Christmas market, complete with horse-drawn carriages and candlelit walks that recall simpler times. Moustiers-Sainte-Marie, Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. Clinging to cliffs at the foot of the Verdon Gorge, Moustiers-Sainte-Marie is a village where nature and architecture harmonize. A golden star suspended by chain high above the village adds a note of mystery, said to be hung by a knight in the Middle Ages to fulfill a vow. Famous for its delicate faience ceramics, Moustiers hums with artisan activity. Water from mountain springs tumbles through the town, feeding stone fountains and moss-covered troughs. With its dramatic setting and rich craftsmanship, Moustiers feels like a sanctuary, sculpted by wind, water, and faith. Dix, Lourmarin, Provence. Unlike the hilltop fortresses of other Provençal towns, Lourmarin nestles gently in a fertile valley. Its Renaissance château, shaded cafes, and cypress-lined lanes make it the ideal retreat for writers and dreamers. Indeed, Albert Camus chose to live and be buried here. Markets spill with melons, lavender, and local goat cheeses, while jazz and classical concerts echo through the warm summer evenings. In Lourmarin, there is no rush, just the slow rhythm of village life, rich with color and conversation. These villages may be small, but they hold immense and enduring charm. In their quiet lanes, history lingers in the scent of fresh bread and the creak of old shutters. They are places of poetry, memory, and slow magic, proof that the soul of France beats strongest where life is lived at its gentlest pace. Conclusion: the soul of France. From the buzzing cafes of Paris to the windswept cliffs of Brittany, from vineyards in Bordeaux to lavender fields in Provence, France is a country that stirs the heart and nourishes the senses. It is a land of elegance and edge, of legacy and light. But beyond its famous places and grand architecture, what makes France truly magical is its spirit, a way of seeing, savoring, and feeling the world. Whether you're sipping wine beneath a chateau, wandering the alleys of a village lost in time, or simply watching the world go by from a street corner in Paris, you are participating in a story that has unfolded over centuries and still continues, one beautiful moment. Merci for joining us on this unforgettable journey through France. Until next time, au revoir and safe travels. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for amazing travel